should never shoot this while pointing it at other people. You should only shoot empty cans with it. You want me to shoot?
Matrix of a kid.
Episode 1: The Mortality of Haruhi Suzumiya.
Tell me, Alice, are you the dreamer or simply in someone else's dream? Hello, you silly rabbits. Today we are watching Depression the anime. Hey, why did I stall? Oh yeah, that's the right time to perfect to have Depression. The anime is basically this protagonist Kian meets a girl named Haruhi, and she drags him along with 3 other victims to start a club called the SOS Brigade to fill her anime fantasies of espers, time travelers, and alien robots. But oh no, plot twist. As the story continues, we find out that according to the experts, Ferrari is a Lovecraftian monstrosity with the power to warp reality. And those 3 stooges are secretly an esper, a time traveler, and an alien robot. So the 4 of them continue with the SOS Brigade to distract Haruhi, so she doesn't get bored and recreate the new world that they caused of the old one, like my ex. Anyway, my super duper original scooper idea for this theory is what if all of the supernatural events of the show was actually pseudo-suggestion? I could just combine that with like certain environmental factors such as heat, food poisoning, or outright psychedelic drug lacing. It got me pretty far with only like 1 or 2 things I could not account for. But then what if I was partially correct in that Haruhi isn't Little Miss as I thought, and that Kian is just one imagining things? And I mean that in a more literal sense. First. Let's go over how Haruhi's powers work. So, we are given like 3 different explanations of it that seemingly contradicts each other, like good old Lycori Mouse.
There's no doubt that Miss Suzumiya has the power to alter the reality of the present. But I don't think she can change the actual structure of this world. The world has always been this way.
Basically, only her perception is powerful. As in if she perceived that cats can talk, that when, well, cats can talk.
Either one's okay with me.
Not necessarily that she was the one who created the world. This is the rabbit rule. Silly rabbit. Named after Alice in Wonderland, because why the hell not? Well, Miss Snows Naditos believes that...
We believe that Haruhi Suzumiya has the potential for autoevolution. She has the power to manipulate the environmental data around her for her benefit. That is the reason why I am here, and the reason why you are here.
This is to say reality is JavaScript and seemingly adapts to Haruhi's whims in not only changing the data, but also creating data where no data can exist. Like if Haruhi's mind was crunching on the universe command prompts. This is different from the rabbit rule because it's not Haruhi's perception is changing, rather the world is changing due to her regardless of her perception. This is the mouse rule. And then there is Happy Koiko's explanation.
You see, the elders in the organization believe that this world is sort of like a dream that a certain entity is showing us. Because it's all just a dream, it'd be quite easy for that entity to alter our reality. It could change it, destroy it, even create a new world. And we're pretty sure that we found that entity right here.
You're saying that's Haruhi?
For millennia, people have referred to such an entity as God.
As in she is God, she recreated the world 3 years ago to include espers, fanservice characters, murder mysteries, anime baseball episodes, guitar subplots, maid cafes, trains, summer vacation, parallel dimensions, kimonos, and things like that. And the world they are living in is a continue of this new world. That would imply the narrative is sort of written and set in motion by Haruhi's manga mind. The goodest example of this is in the Remote Island Syndrome arc, where Haruhi Sue and the Disruptionary crew solves the case. Haruhi expected a murder to happen, and guess what?
Keiichi did it! And the first victim will be Hikaru!
A murder happened. But this ended up being a false murder. Kion says he knew it was a false murder since.
An incident like this could never happen. Because there's no way that Haruhi would ever really wish for someone to be murdered. That's just how she is.
As in Haruhi has to agree to the narrative since she's implied to create it. Let's call this the cat rule, named after Mr. Smiles.
And I'm Itsuki, the Crimson Super Ball. Guess why they call me that? Holla!
So which of these are correct? And yes, this will be on the quiz. Time's up explosion. Glamour. Spoiler. All or some or none of them are correct.
Regardless of which theory I present you with, there is no way for you to determine its truth.
Why not?
There is no guarantee that what I have been saying is the truth either.
So yes, we are making one assumption and thereby speculating now. Already so another might debut. But we could also assume that Rory is special and that there was a 75% chance she will follow at least one of these rules. Now, we are still an institution of logic. You worship me because logically I force you to. God bless America. Now, we follow epistemology, meaning we want to prove these rules are correct. We must think, what would disprove them and find that? So what will be evidence that violates the rabbit rule? Obviously, anything that shows that her perspective does not shape the world. An example would be if Haruhi had clear disappointment, as it would show her perspective was false by the world itself. Well, Haruhi did show clear disappointment a few times, violating Rule A, such as the toothpick draw. I assume she was expecting to get the red toothpick and be pulled on Kian. But I just shot blood. Whisper.
And she wanted to split up into groups again.
An unmarked one again.
That's right there. That expression right there. What'd you call that, huh? But maybe we're just nitpicking. Maybe that's, we can just explain that as this has merely Haruhi unconsciously in a tiny, teensy bit realizes there's a probability she will not win the draw. So it manifests as such. She is rational after all, given gravity and mass still exists. But it can get more disappointing. In the first few episodes, Haruhi, along with Asahina, just like bunny girls, they were allowed to give out flyers, hoping to advertise the new SOS Brigade, but was stopped by teachers, with them only giving half the flyers. And no one even joined the SOS Brigade because of it. Then she walks back talking like she is disappointed in the outcome.
Unbelievable! We passed out half our flyers and teachers came out of nowhere telling us to stop! Who do they think they are?
I mean, Haruhi had to at least assume one person would have noticed and joined the SOS Brigade due to her antics. Even if she thought it would probably not be the super successful, I mean, even a teensy bit of her could decide one outcome, why not another? But maybe she just unconsciously thought so little so that manifested as such would it be a total boost. But let's say we had a super example that dissipates the objections. There was that one episode
You'd be as good as...
Well, Haruhi played this computer game where she charged into attacking her virtual ships and lost the game instantly. And you might say she just unconsciously was aware that it wouldn't pan out, so it manifests as such, like always. It's a tad bit more complicated than that, as it is a running gag on how she's magically good at everything from sprinting to baseball to singing, with the audience having to deduce it's because she sees herself as the main character.
And if I'm not mistaken, weren't you the one who entered every event and won all of them? That was you, wasn't it?
And this virtual game thing is not even an exception, because in the same episode she gambled as Yuki and herself if they lost in the virtual box, even when she didn't have to, and Kian narrated how this was a sign that
She's so confident she's going to win that she'd risk losing her own members in the wager.
All ships, attack!
Yet in practice she failed instantly, like so terribly badly. The SOS Brigade only won on the real thing because Kian convinced Honkers to pay off and actually do anything. Or Yuki anti-cheat to rate a victory. So maybe just a tad bit of a ambit that Haruhi could be delusional, not everything in a delusion must come true. Oh, okay. Rule A must be false. And then rule B must be in the poker beans of it, right. I'm not predictable, you all. Don't say it's gonna be another one of those. Well, when the SOS Brigade was making a movie in the Psyhawk, you noticed the world was getting that distorted flavor in relation to the movie, with the more obvious things like Asuka Hyena having the Makuta beam laser powder, after when Haruhi tells her to shoot out the ultimate move.
It's the Mikudo beam, so start firing it!
Or when she said she wanted white doors,
It would be so awesome if the pigeons were all white.
and then white doors. But sometimes the distortion seems so random, trademark. Later, Kian checks on the doves, and after filming, they turn into an extinct passenger pigeon. Something that underrated to Haruhi. Fucking hell. Something that is unrelated to what's-her-face's current thoughts about the movie. Another time, Kian went to class, he saw generic fantasy anime soldiers in the school festival.
And if a couple of people from another world decided to show up, I doubt they'd feel out of place here.
that took the old disappearing act after Kion got rid of distortion. But again, why did that happen? How did that even happen? Did Sugarette just wish upon it off screen? What? I don't even think medieval anything was mentioned in that book, like novel, anime, or whatever we were looking at. Yeah, she used good girl Harry's too herself, not even keenly influenced by fantasy anime characters at this point. Another time in the same arc, Haruhi was looking for a black cat, but none of the cats she found was black. Again, more proof things don't change on her whim, as black cats' whims do not equate black cats. But maybe the cats turned out black after Haruhi left, who's to say? We tried this in like the first episode. It says she dated anyone who asked her out, but dumped them after realizing they are a normal person.
I don't have any time to deal with ordinary humans.
Why the hell did you say okay?
But if the environment adapted to a whim, why didn't they just turn into one of those three things to suit her and some was for an entire week, where she held the dimmest hope that one of them would be ultra cool. So even if she was expecting disappointment, it was rectified by her weak condition. So Ruby being rid of, that leaves Rosie, right? Rosie basically implies she planned out all the things in the anime from the start in the same narrative structure. So if we want to prove this, we would have to question whether the anime and the narrative in its entirety is something Haruhi would make up. Well, yeah, basically. It is implied that although Haruhi is a brat that has no problem abusing those around her, she legitimately cares for each of the SOS Brigade and even for worse victim. Says in the future she saw it as fond memories of high school instead of,
I'm amazed I could wear something like this. It's out of the question now.
you know, lifestyle abuse. Although Haruhi has a one-way crush with Kion, which Kion would never pursue even if he was held by the throat of God herself. It is shown in the future, it becomes a little bit more intimate. Let's cry about it a bit. This is the moment of silence for the eternal hell knowing Kion and Haruhi is going to be the kinship. No matter how much we want Ashina plus Kion and Wayfield Paradise. Basically, if Haruhi was gone, she's willing to avoid getting what she wants instead of it means a better narrative. So her not doing the La Bamba with Kion the millisecond love is poisoning her cold can be chalked up as slow burn romance is cuter. This seems hard to disprove. I mean, the show is serialized in a narrative structure. What am I supposed to do? Take all your nights attempting to convince you that it isn't? Maybe if I wanted to. Wink. Yet why do that when I could disprove that the narrative is what Haruhi wants? We know that Hurricane Suzumiya desires and believes in the existence of espers, those aliens, and time travelers. She would never think the three people she just so happens to drag to the brigade to be them. What I mean is, she wouldn't because it is too easy. She expects it to be difficult to find them, and how things are, according to her, is not difficult. So if she were to write the narrative, it wouldn't be like in the anime with the three people to be dragged into the brigade, being who exactly she was seeking for 3 years. Since to her, that is unfitting to the core narrative she actually imagined. In fact, not in the anime, but in the second light novel, the whole conflict started because Kion told our goddess about the identities of the cast.
For starters, I'm thinking I'd like to talk to her a little bit about aliens, time travelers, and espers.
Making her think of the movie.
Next, you're probably gonna tell me Koizumi's the Esper in the group. Am I right or am I right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say to you next.
Don't mess with me!
But as we see in the side arc, this false view of the dynamic is inaccurate. Koi is not in a love triangle with Maki and Yuki is not trying to seduce Koi onto the dark side. Mikoran does perfectly human, no laser eyes or special powers. Sigh. And probably Suzumiya. But maybe, she thought the narrative would be more interesting if she did new things and is kept perpetually ignorant. But how about with Yuki showcasing regret at the disappearance arc, implying she does not want to be at Haruhi's whims?
Nagato wished for it. She just wanted to live in a normal world, that's all.
That seems kind of cruel compared to everything else. For Asahina, she thinks, oh, her abuse is a character growth, so it ends up as character growth.
Wanna touch it?
For Yuki, it seems pretty cruel. So will Haruhi really create a narrative where she tortures the one person in the SOS Brigade she has the most respect for? And the entirety of disappearance was because Yuki was so annoyed at Haruhi. She was A-okay erasing Haruhi from the life of everyone around her. It wasn't just a small nuance here, man. Like she was ready to just end it. Even when Kion showcases annoyance sees her somewhat charming, but Kyoki, no, hell no, true misery. It seems rule ABC 1, 2, 3 is out of the park. Now how does her godhouse really function? Kion has his own thoughts on it.
Then what about me? What does Haruhi Suzumiya mean to someone like me? But to me, Haruhi isn't just a classmate, and of course she's not the potential for evolution, a time distortion, or a god either. That's impossible!
Yep, she's a normal high school girl. But if she's not God, why do these happenings keep happening? You see, someone else is God. Maybe it's the first person narrator? That's right, Kion. Think of Roy. Does Kion perspective change the world? I just told you he's a first person narrator. But let's back that up with examples. In the computer game, in the contest, Kion was anticipating Haruhi to fail or lose due to lacking experience in playing a computer game.
I don't really care. Besides, it's about damn time that girl learned her lesson.
And she does show uncharacteristically ineptness. Coincidental. And with the Bunny Girl advertising, Kion didn't show a lack of surprise when it failed.
If two girls in bunny suits are passing out flyers in front of the school, everybody'd come running to check that out.
Showcasing he knew the outcome of it. What's an intriguing development once, and also, this is a big one. A more unexplained phenomenon was that in the light novel, and only in the light novel, not in the anime, nothing like that, only that. Kion lost track what day of the week it was. He did say, and this was confirmed by someone he was talking to, so I was checking up Haruhi, who was changing her hair based on the day of the week. That was the thing, remember that thing?
Haruhi eccentricity number 1. A different hairstyle every day. As the days passed, the number of places she tie off her hair increased. On Monday, she resets her hair, and then adds a tie-off point each day until Friday.
And Haruhi said it must...
I guess today's Wednesday, isn't it?
Then it turned out it was Wednesday. Yes, a woot, Mr. Concheri must say. You see, in a light novel, it was directly said Kion graduated middle school in 1999, and is starting high school right now in Chapter 1. But the closest year that the day after Golden Week was on a Wednesday was coincidentally when the anime ended in 2009. I guess Kion is a real time traveler. What am I saying is that Kion just magically made it Wednesday. This is the largest proof of this theory right here. Like, I don't see people talk about this. So now to Ruby. Now back to the movie Psylocke distortion thing. Right after the white dolls appeared, Cole placed the idea in Kion's head that perhaps movie making is causing the world to become a little more distorted.
Consider this. If she's creating all this strange phenomena to fix whatever's wrong with the world.
Since Kion expected the randomness, what if he just got randomness because of it? Another thing is that when they were looking for a black stray cat, Haruhi was anticipating finding one. But Kion's mind was probably going to the distortion, how you could find something as rare as a male calico. And so they found a male calico. And if you check the light novel or the anime, now Haruhi does not know male calicos are rare. Like, she doesn't say, oh look, a rare cat. No, she picks it up and says, hey, take this. And if that wasn't the cake, Kion's solution to the movie distortion conflict was getting Haruhi to narrate.
It's all made up. Even if it resembles someone, it's probably just a coincidence. Oh, except for the commercials.
And that fixed all the movie distortion somehow. But if we go back to the first mysterious sign of distortion with Haruhi talking about the Makoto pig, Kion quickly got Haruhi to admit
people can't fire beams from their eyes.
I know that.
And guess what? Kion thinks in his head right after she admits it.
What if Miss Asahina actually does shoot a beam out of her eye? What happens then, huh? You can't, can you?
When we compare these two scenes, it kind of maybe seems like Kion's assurance of the mind trumps Haruhi's, imagination. Now, if we go to the fifth layer of conspiracy here, to pay up on that close attention, you can see that every time Kion finds something supernatural, he is often around certain influences that might not make Kion think straight, such as with the robot laser attack love letter. It was said right before that.
It's so hot!
Impossible.
Think of it like a mirage, except it becomes real when you're as a thought, not as we thought. And in the mysterious sign, does not computer president or Haruhi make everyone eat expired yogurt in an abandoned loft?
It expired 3 days ago, but I'm sure they're still good. Come on, let's eat!
And the fight scene, right after that, they end up fighting a giant cockroach. which is expected in the abandoned lot with expired yogurt, so Bugs Bunny is here to stay. Other times, like when Koi shows him in the closed space Espera battleground, Kion noticeably closes his eyes as if he is imagining in his mind before it comes true. And when Makaru takes Kion to the past, he also closes his eyes. And then there's that T-Moth leaf. Like when Yuki was about to explain she's an alien robot, the anime thought,
So what is it you wanted to see me about?
Drink it.
Why not emphasize Yuki boring him too? And right after the tea, we see this, spacey psychedelic design in Yuki's apartment. Also, Yuki later in the series is known to, inject nanomachines into people. So spiking the tea is not a stretch there. Also, in the SOS Club room, Kion drinks the same looking green tea. But guess who sets up the tea stand in the beginning?
The once empty room of the former literary club now has lots of things in it. Maybe she's planning on living here.
But yes, it's you, Haruhi, the same girl who spiked Makuru in the Psyarch. Who's to say the teapot is not doing the tequila dance too? But let's shelve that young brainwashing thing for now. What is the sexy Salisbury steak of it is the NS8 arc, where summer vacation for the brigade looped but ended when Kion asked the brigade to help him finish his homework. Koi's explanation on why it worked is because of...
Miss Suzumiya is a smart and talented person. She's always been that way and she always will be. And that's probably why it never occurred to her that summer homework could also be a bit of a pain for others. Since she's never had to do the study group thing before, I can see how she'd overlook an opportunity like that.
So studying filled her up with that summer love to end the time loop. And you see that footage right there of her just ignoring everything just to play video games? In the light novel, she didn't even do that. She said, hey, here's my homework. And she just sat there like a pretty kitty, not letting up all. But Kion, he more believably wanted to do over. There has been a lot of hints in the arc that he wanted one.
I still haven't done any of my homework.
So if he just had the power to do it, he would've. Okay, Ruby is a solid 10 out of 10, that's a we'll see. Let's see if everything is perfectly in line on how Kion thinks. Yes. Kion's shtick is that he recently started high school, growing out of believing in espers, time travelers, and alien robots.
All I ever wanted was for an alien, time traveler, ghost, monster, esper, evil syndicate, or the hero that fought him to just appear and say, hey.
Seeing the whole shebang as needing to leave it behind him to grow up.
I guess I've grown up and realized that I can think about those things and still accept reality.
And his character development is him realizing anime chaos makes his life better.
Aliens? Time travelers and espers, man? One's enough. But no, I got to hang out with all three. How could I not find all this stuff fun, huh?
We can very simply construe that as him willing to create this narrative of this grounded reality that's been invaded by these supernatural attributes. As he himself internally hopes for these things to happen, so it happens. Also, Koi does often comment on how...
If you guys exist because Haruhi wished it, why isn't she aware of it? I mean, don't you think that's strange?
Not really. There's the part of her that wished for aliens, espers, and time travelers to be real. But she's also got a practical side that thinks those things are impossible. She's conflicted between the two.
But doesn't that also fit Kion, who is rationally a voice of reason? He does often think what he is seeing must be a dream and often gives half-hearted explanations for supernatural aspects of the narrative.
I keep hoping that everything I saw was just a hallucination.
Like if grounded reality is a common ground to him, but he cannot rectify his desires of the supernatural, making him in this half-supernatural Lovecraftian mystery or half-slice-of-life anime, which does make Rusi compelling to this theory. Also, just so you know, this is not even 90% of the evidence on all the ways Kion is God. That's right, we're going to the bonus stage. I am reading the light novels right now and can confidently say up to the Waverina arc. The only time Kion's own perception didn't match with the reality he lives in was when Yuki removed the god powers in his appearance. Which, removed the god power, so it didn't count. And above and beyond that, Kion as God could also fill up all those plot contrivances, As why does Makuru say, time travel cannot change the past or future? Well, you can't change the future if you're just meddle enough in the past. A fact everyone acknowledges. I suppose if Kion is God, we can just say it is possible to change the future when Kion time travels, since, well, he is God. And why does everyone of the SOS Brigade listen to Kion outright? Shouldn't he be the least experienced of the penitent? And the least specialized in dealing with the main conflict? Well, it seems like he's the one large and in charge. When Yuki needs permission to use her alien powers, she turns to Kion. When Koi asks if they should use their supernatural abilities to cheat, they of course ask Kion. And when Mikuru wants Haruhi to be less abusive, whose door she's knocking on besides Kion? Kion does see himself as a voice of reason, so people must listen to him, right? And when you're the big man, that viewpoint becomes reality. But let's say this evidence was coincidental after all. I mean, Kion is the narrator. It would be hammer sandwich to nitpick how everything is created by Kion because, he's the narrator. So instead of going through the galaxy to wide amount of banal evidence, what if I could imply this theory in motion? That's right, I'm gonna spoil the light novels before Nagara, that guy's names, before he even writes it. Okay, leave now if you do not want to hear spoilers. Leave now. Not even the author knows this. What is going to happen is Mikuru will attempt to influence Kion to do her bidding.
Yuki attempts to ensnare Itsuki by using her sex appeal.
But Haruhi will convince Kion to resist and he will realize he has god powers.
I will now proceed to take control of your thoughts and actions.
Then he will use it to banish her back to where she came. The same way we see in Love Ru Mikuru, where the time-traveling waitress is Haruhi. And the movie, like the series, is named after her. The unrepainted high school love interest is, on the other hand, Kion, which is Haruhi's own unrepainted love interest, and the seductive witch.
The first choice is to be with me and to make this universe evolve into what it should be, and the second is to be with her, but that will only destroy the future.
A motive Koi admits himself.
Her role in all this is to entice you over to her side. The only person I know who can get Miss Suzumiya to listen to them is you, isn't it? You see, that's why it's so important to get a hold over you. With her good looks, her childish behavior, and the way she constantly allows herself to be subjected to Miss Suzumiya's unreasonable demands. It's all just an elaborate scheme to get your attention, you know?
Getting tired of your jokes now.
Then to add an extra scoop of chocolate chips, guess who wrote that ending? That's right, Kion. The same god who's setting everything in motion right now.
The final battle between Mikuru and Yuki awakens Itsuki Koizumi's powers. And this Deus Ex Machina power that no one understands knocks Yuki out into space.
But hey.
That's classified.
Wait, don't go, I already miss you. If you actually watch the anime, you may or may not think I forgot about closed space. I don't forget a baguette. And what I found is putting the French on the guillotine. That's right. I found the final nail in Kion's godhood crucifixion. Next episode, just for you, we will be checking the very, very, very close parallels and good old Freud's of psychodynamics.
Sigmund Freud's gotta be laughing at me.
As we search and merge the psychology of Haruhi Suzumiya, coming soon. End credit.
Make it up a kid.